This life is most of the times never about what you really want. In this life, you rarely ever get the chance to do what you really want, unless you force the life to work your way. And today, I'm going to show you how it's done through ownership and assets. I believed something for years that turned out to be completely wrong. I thought a higher income would solve the feeling of freedom. It did not. What changed everything was ownership. And I want to walk you through exactly how I figured that out, because it took me a lot longer than it should have. And I think a lot of people are sitting exactly where I was without realizing it yet. For a long stretch of time, life looked completely fine from the outside. The income was solid, the bills got paid on time, and the rent was completely assured. Holidays happened every year, sometimes two of them, even more. Nothing was wrong. There was no crisis to point at, nothing you could screenshot and send to a friend saying, look, this is the issue. But every month felt strangely similar to the one before it. Work, get paid, reset. Work, get paid, reset. The calendar kept moving forward. The years kept ticking by. But the feeling underneath all of it stayed exactly where it had always been. Like watching the odometer on a car that's somehow still parked in the same driveway. The numbers were moving, but the location was not. Money would arrive on the first of the month, and then over the following 4 weeks, it would quietly evaporate. Rent, groceries, fuel, a dinner here, a subscription there. None of it reckless, none of it irresponsible, just ordinary spending on an ordinary life. And then, the first of the next month would arrive, the whole sequence would begin again, almost identical, like a song stuck on repeat, with nothing urgent happening. And I actually looked at it honestly. I went back through several months of spending, and I realized I was spending a meaningful amount of money every single month, but I wasn't accumulating much of anything at all. The observation is the moment the whole thing clicked for me, and it wasn't the kind of clean motivational realization you see edited nicely into a finance video with dramatic music underneath it. No, it was uncomfortable. I looked around at everything I had paid for, truly paid for with real effort and real hours of my actual life, and noticed that almost all of it was designed to disappear the moment I used it. The rent disappeared, the holiday disappeared, the dinners disappeared, the fuel disappeared, and the phone became an old phone, and the clothes became old clothes. The effort behind earning that money was completely real, and the spending was also completely real. The accumulation, when I actually reviewed it, was almost nothing. That's when the question I'd been asking myself my entire working life changed shape. For years the question had been, how much did I make this month? Simple, obvious, the question everyone asks, and the question every job interview and every salary negotiation revolves around. After that afternoon, the question became something else entirely. What did I actually keep? And from there, an even sharper version of it arrived a few weeks later, almost uninvited. What do I own today that I didn't own a year ago? Nobody had ever taught me to think that way. School taught me how to earn, employers taught me how to earn and burn. Every conversation around money seemed to revolve around earning. Almost nobody talked about ownership. This is where stocks entered the picture for me, not because I suddenly cared about trading or charts, because I started understanding what a share actually represents on a level deeper than the number that moves up and down on a normal screen. A share isn't a trade you're making, hoping the price moves in your favor by the end of the week or month. A share is part ownership, a genuinely tiny piece, sure, but ownership, all the same, is a real company, employing real people and selling real products in the real world. And once that idea actually landed, I started looking at everything differently. Almost everywhere I went, every company you interact with on an ordinary day is owned by somebody. The coffee shop you walk past on the way to work, the phone in your pocket right now, the app you scroll through before falling asleep, the airline that flew you on your last vacation, all of it belongs to someone, every single piece of it. And for years, I had simply never asked myself who, except for the Ryanair boss. At some point, somewhere in the middle of all of this, I became far more interested in being one of the owners than one of the customers. Don't get me wrong, I'm still buying coffee, I still fly on the holiday, but alongside it, I own a small piece of the business I use. Both at the same time. One side of me is spending money, and the other side is collecting a share of the profits. That single shift in perspective is exactly what led me towards the S&P 500, and the transition makes a lot more sense once you see it through this lens rather than through the usual investing pitch. I'm not buying because I expect some explosive return that changes my life overnight. I'm not buying it chasing the idea of passive income or some vague promise of money working while I sleep. I am buying ownership, simple, broad ownership across 500 of the largest companies on the planet, spreading out so widely that no single company, bad quarter, no single CEO, bad decision can take the whole thing down with it. Its ownership doesn't ask for my attention every afternoon. It doesn't need me checking in, refreshing a chart, or reading an earnings call transcript before bed. It just sits there, compounding in the background. It's something I actually possess rather than something I temporarily rented with my time and then watched disappear. For years, I genuinely thought the answer to feeling stuck was simply earning more income, a bigger number, problem eventually solved by sheer volume. I chased raises and I chased jobs for better titles. I told myself the next salary jump would finally be the one that made the feeling go away. Eventually, I realized the real question was never about what came in, it was about what I was actually keeping. Income has to be earned again next month. Ownership does not. Ownership does not. Life is easy, people. We are the ones who complicate it. See you next Tuesday. I'm on every single morning, maybe, or afternoon.